Hello and welcome back, my name's Sullosian and this is another video on Skywanderers. So just jumping back in, we are in a pretty nice spot in the universe right now, or the galaxy at least, with a blue star and just outside this nebula here. And sorry to any frequent viewers about the lack of videos in the past week. Have been busy with work and just got a bit sick after that too, just getting well enough to start doing videos again. But basically I'll just show off what I've been working on the ship whilst I've been a bit out of action. So I'll just sort of start up this way because it's been a while since I've shown anything off. You might have seen, if you saw the tutorial video on the safety switch guns here, just some of the stuff that I did on the bridge here. So we've got our little airlock doors here, switch to close, open and close those. So this is the bridge of Sullosian 1. So I'm pretty happy with how this all turned out. It's I've tried to make it as neat and tidy as possible, but also filled with features. So this side over here, I'm not really sure what I'm going to have with these controls. I think these will be hanger controls here, and then something else here, not really sure. But on this side anyway, we've got the missile control center, which we can access from here, the bridge. And then we've also got the main weapon controls, which I will show you later, because I don't think I've shown off the weapon yet. But as you can see, you can sort of access all of that here. You can tell whether or not the main weapon's been fired via this bar here, and the status of the missile doors here. So I'm just moving on to the actual captain's chair and everything. So we've got our captain's chair, we've got a command console here, and then the seat switch. Seat switch just sort of rotates the chair around, which all the chairs do, like so. And then if, say, the captain is the only one on board, say the other people have had to abandon ship for some reason, he can then control the entire ship from his command console here. So he's got his hyperdrive bar here, he's got the main weapon control, and then main weapon recentering. Control the ship from here in first person here, or control it from a camera which is above the main weapon. This is missile control center, so I can control the main weapon missile controls just here. So same as controls in the actual center, you've got the number 1 key press to open the hangar doors, and then you can also fire some missiles, etc. So we'll just exit that view. This one here is the blast doors. So I should probably just stand up when I'm doing this, just so you can see around a bit better. But as you can see, we've got a nice big glass open window. We've got open windows everywhere. If I press my blast door button though, doors come up from there, and they come out from there. Screen folds out, and it is completely enclosed now. So everything's just sort of compact and hidden away, and a lot safer than it was. I mean, in hindsight, if a missile hits this window, everyone on the bridge is probably dead anyway, but it could give you a few more minutes of protection than if you just had the glass windows and someone could see you sitting here in your chair. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's a nice open sort of view bridge, and then you've got the blast doors, which the primary and secondary command chairs can access just on their arm here, so they just sort of have access to it straight away. But if the captain is the only one available, then he opens his command console and then he can gain access to it like that. So that's all pretty well. Nothing else really. These two buttons are non-functional. You got the speed bar here, hyperdrive on these, operating the ship from a further distance. Yeah, so that's just operating it from just outside on that camera just there. Navigation here. Sorry, I'll just put away the command console. But just try to make everything compact and hidden. But you've got the navigation here, so they can just press that, and then someone can come along and choose where they want to go next. but we won't really attempt any hyperdrive jump, but I'll explain that a bit later. So I've also just got this down here, the ship status, so you can just sort of see the ship in its current state. It's coming together nicely. It's slowly getting more detail put onto it, and it's looking pretty good. So I think we'll go interior, then we'll go exterior, because there's been a lot happening everywhere. So we'll just call the elevator up. So I finally got the elevator working for here. So we'll just do that. Blue button is to go down, orange is this current floor. Oops, just accidentally clipped through the elevator. Not to worry. Okay, we'll just come down here. In here we've got nothing at the moment. Not really sure what I want there either, so not to worry though. Then up here we've got our cargo level elevator, so you can have a bit of cargo storage just in there if you need to. And you've also got the main cargo storage just down in here, which is up to the left and to the right. So I'll just come up here. You've got little sort of outlined areas where it's safe to put cargo if you need to put cargo somewhere, but there's not really cargo at the moment, so sort of not really relevant. But anyway, I think you get the idea. Coming along to here, we'll go back and check that stuff out later, but we've got our blast door sort of event thing here, which comes into this, which is the main weapon control. So I'll just come along the right side here. You got the hatch there to go up, and you got the logic for the main weapon here. So this also has blast doors just here, which is this one here. So it just sort of opens and closes the blast doors for protection in case you don't want to be looking out and firing from this perspective. This is just the progress of firing, so if I actually fire the gun, you can see those bullets there, and then you'll also see that this slid up and then back down. That's like the, it goes up once it's firing basically. And then gun functional, that means if everything is working, then this will be flashing. But logic here, you've got this, same as in the missile control center if you've seen that, which is that there. This one centers the gun again, which I'll show you in just a moment. So just controlling the gun, we've got a first person view here, and you can just sort of aim it. It's very quick moving because there's not really a speed set to these sort of things yet. But left click will fire a triple shot and also vent some air from some nearby vents. And right click will fire one single missile. Of course there's no delay between the missiles, so that's just the way it is. So you might notice when I actually fire the gun, like the barrels move back. So I was trying to get like a World War II effect, sort of like the massive cannons on the ships, artillery, long range sort of firing. And then the guns, like barrels, like move backwards out of the sheer force of the shot sort of thing. So we'll just sort of exit that one. This one's a further distance sort of view, so you can just sort of see what I mean by the vents. So they are set to fire after each shot, but if you fire too rapidly, then it takes a moment for it to catch up. Nothing happens when you fire the missiles, but as you can see, guns, they sort of like move the barrels back when you fire. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. It's pretty good. So we actually just go up here, just move our speed up a little bit. Got our little hatch here. So as you can see here, the gun's just at an angle. But let's just say you want to recenter it for whatever reason. Say you're jumping into hyperspace and you need to recenter the gun. You just hit the center gun button, and then it resets all the rotors in the gun to a center forward position. And it also like aims it down. So if it was aiming up, it would aim it down. Aiming to the side, it would aim it to the middle again. So that's pretty simple to do. All you have to do is set a constant gate into the rotors, which control, or maybe it was a mix gate I used. I think it was one of these mix gates here. So basically you just set this here, you put the output into one of the rotors, and you have the input set to a switch, and then you have the A set to say 0 degrees, and then the B set to about 1 degree, and then when you press the button it will go between the 0 and 1 degree. For some reason, using a constant gate doesn't seem to get the same effect, but that's just the way it is at the moment. So in some events it will be on a slight angle, which I think it is. It's on its 1 degree angle now, I believe. But if we press it again, it should move it back to the 0 degree. So that looks a bit straighter now instead of being on 1 degree. But I think you get the idea of that. We'll just go back in the ship now. We'll do the rest of the ship tour. So we'll just come out here, close our blast door. In here we've just got a sort of like weapon viewing room. This will be where firearms in the ship will be holstered, like an armory. So I've just sort of used item floating blocks at the moment to demonstrate, but if you've seen the dev videos, you'll see that he's got a block where you can build your own guns, customize them yourself, which is what I'll be putting in here once we get these gun customization things back, the gun customization tables. So that's this. It's a very high room here. I'm not really sure I'm happy with that, but it does feel open and it is nice in its own regard. So we'll just bring the elevator up. Shouldn't take too long, but it is a bit of a slow elevator. So yeah, cargo hold, 2 of those, and you can just bring the cargo through here in its large corridor here, and then you can put the cargo just up in here in the cargo storage. And there's also this area back here behind the elevator, which you can also use. So just going down to a mess floor. Ooh, went down a bit quicker than I should have, but really happy with how this turned out. It feels like people would actually be living here and eating food here. So you got your plates and your cups here, cool water, hot water in case you're making coffee. Let's just pretend that's coffee there in like a jar. Sugar, that can be I don't know, food supply in a tube. So you just put your plate under it and then you get food on it. Then you got your mustard, tomato and barbecue sauce, or ketchup, or whatever country you're from and you like to call it. So you've got all your chairs, so group table activity areas. Then you've got just sitting with 2 people alone sort of area here. So I've tried to make it random just in the way that things are placed, but you know, it can be hard to do to make things actually look random. So I'm just coming down here, so you got your glass here, so you can't actually just fall through. But this goes down to the engineering, which you might remember. So nothing's changed down here, everything's still the same. I'll show you that in a moment. But same floor as a mess floor you've got down here. So we've finally put in the crew quarters. So we've got our airlock blast door here for the crew quarters. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, but it is pretty simple. So they've got a lounge, they've got a bunk bed, and you got your lockers here, and a sort of rug thing here in the center. All these rooms here, we've got 8 of those, so we can fit 16 standard crew quarters just along here. And it's all got doors, so as you can see here, all of them just fine. I'm going to have airlocks going outside of the ship here, just on here, which I think does make sense, but I'm not too sure. Moving down here, you've got bigger crew quarters, so this is more of a officers' quarters here. So they've got 1 lounge and they've got a double bed just for themselves. And that's the same on this side, so each side of the corridor is mirrored. Then not sure if this is gender stereotype or not, but I just needed a way of just saying like male and female bathrooms. So they're both the same anyway, but you got your showers here, and then you got your sinks, and you got very slow moving toilet doors. Toilet paper, toilet there, as you can see there. There's a bit of a problem with hinges at the moment where they move very slowly even though there's not much weight on them, but that's not too much of a problem. So just imagining there's a mirror there, you got your sink here, hot and cold water, hot, cold. I'm really happy with how all of this turned out. I mean, just it's simple, it's bright white and it's got windows looking outside. And as you can see, both bathrooms are the same, but I'm really happy with how those turned out. Coming down here, we got our secondary commander room, which isn't done yet, but you've got your sort of lower underside main weapon control area, as well as landing gear control area. So just below here, we're going to have the landing gear for the front of the ship, and then you'll control all of the maintenance for that in here. There will be like giant sort of doors that open outwards to let the landing gear slide down. But I figure I'm going to need a bit of room to do that, because it's going to be really big landing gear, because it's such a big ship. In here, nothing in here yet. I wasn't sure what to put in here, but I'll figure that out. Then you've got to finish the door for this area, but that's literally it. In fact, I think I even hit the brick limit in this area. So if I add too many more bricks, then things start disappearing. See? All of these panels just in this area start to disappear. But if I break them, then they become visible again. So apparently there is a bit of a limit in the Unity engine at the moment, but I've spoken to the developer. He said that he would be changing the rendering system of bricks soon, so that way that won't be an issue. So I'm just in this current build in the alpha, it doesn't quite work. Having too many bricks in one area will sort of make the rendering system overload just a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm thinking of having like a little command console here where you can see what's happening around the ship in case of an emergency. And you got our doors there, and yeah, that's all turned out really well. I'm really happy with that. Coming up here though, of course, just up from the mess hall and the crew quarters is the escape pod area. Now this originally was going to be crew quarters or officer quarters, as you remember, because you've got the missile control center just in here. But as I mentioned in the video, missile control center and people sleeping right next to it just doesn't work. It's just no, not gonna happen. So I thought about it, and I thought, escape pods. A ship of this size, it's not going to end like the Titanic. It's going to have escape pods, and it's going to be able to let people off the ship. So as you can see here, we've got escape pods, and I think it might be easier if I show you from the outside what everything looks like. So I've got one that's not been docked here yet, but as you can see here, we've got 8 escape pods, 4 per side. The other side's got its full array of escape pods here, which sort of I'll just put our flashlight is on. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Each escape pod is capable of holding 3 people, and they sort of just launch like another ship, really. So we'll just so you open the door like this. Being that I had to fit it in such a small area, you can't actually walk into them, but no problem there, because you can just look at the seat and then you press F and you just get into the seat, and now you're in the ship. So it's got basically everything you need in here. It's got the identity block for actually saving the ship. You've got the power generator, the engine, the hyperdrive block in case you need to get to another system. That's like an emergency thing there. Also for high-speed travel away from a ship. And then you've got the ship core, and you've got your cargo storage. So just a little bit of storage, but it is essential in my opinion. So you've got this one here, which is the back canopy door. This one here, which is the front door, which allows you to see once you're far enough away from damage or ship or anything like that. But just opening that again. Say we need to launch the cargo ship, escape pod. You press this button, which sort of gets you into launch mode. Then you can close the door. And then it's just a matter of pressing the docking button here, which sort of pushes you away. If we go into third person, you can now see, oops, I didn't actually take control of the ship yet. So you can see we do fit nicely into this. It is everything you need to escape a ship fight. So we'll just gain control here. So you just press F on the this one here, go into F4, go into maneuvering mode. You can see that we can move forward and backwards easily, and side to side. And let's just say we're in standard mode. We can turn, we can do all that stuff, and we can fly away if we need to. Of course, because it is an actual ship, it does take a bit of time to get up to speed, but I'm hoping to iron out those kinks here. You do get a bit of a push away from the docking clamp when you first release, but you sort of don't really go very fast at the moment when you're leaving the ship. So you got the one engine on the back, you got a galaxy map there for setting a course in hyperspace. So we'll just I'll just show you how redocking works in case it's a false alarm sort of emergency. So you just sort of align those cones up there. You can't actually just fly into them, but as you can see here, you activate the docking switch, sort of pulls you in towards it. Now we're reconnected, and then it's just a matter of opening the rear hatch, getting out like so, pressing the button here, which will bring the escape pod back in, and you can close the door there. So you got 8 of these, so you can fit 3 people each one, so you can get 24 people off the ship. And considering there's only crew quarters enough for 18 people, not including the captain, I feel like we can have a few refugees on the ship at the same time, and they can all escape. I didn't want too many people per escape pod because I figured if you're escaping and one of the escape pods gets shot down, you could lose like 10 people in one escape pod. But if you've only got 3 people per one, then it's less chance of losing someone crucial in the fleet, so to say. So just sort of exploring furthermore on the outside of the ship. So we've got the escape pods there, we've got the docking system here. This is pretty happy with how that turned out as well. So you've got the hangar base there, which I'll show you the ship I've got docked in there. You got the main weapon here, so there will be this one here, and then there might be another one just on the underside of the ship, somewhere down here maybe. Not really sure, but we'll just pick up our speed, fly around a bit faster. We've got our sort of antenna array, not that they really work in any way, but I'm really happy with how it's all coming together. Sort of getting some detailing on the top part of the ship here. We're going to get some weapons on the top there too. We'll have weapons on the top of this, but as I said, yeah, it's all coming together. So you got just bits of detail here and there and everywhere really. So we'll go into the main hangar bay now, or hangar bay number 2 at least. And as you can see here, we have a I'm not really sure what to call it. It's more of a shuttle, Sullosian shuttle that we've got here. So we'll just leave the hangar bay door open there, but it's got landing gear, it's docked into the ship, so I sort of adapted hangar bay number 2 to be fitting for these here. So you can dock them in multiple ways. You can fit them on this one here, or this one here, depending on which angle you want the ship to be. If it's docked into this middle one here, then the rear hatch of the ship will be facing this door right here. But I'll just slow the speed down so that way we're not moving too quick. But as you can see here, we've got a sort of side captain door here. This is for if it's docked in this position, then you can press this button, ladders go away. You can press this button here, which will do that. This also does the ladder there. But we'll just sort of get in the ship. I'll show you around. So I'm not really sure I'm happy with the actual design just whilst I'm out here, the actual shape of it, but it works, and I'm pretty happy with the overall functionality of it. So we can just close the captain's door there. Everything folds away nicely. So we've got the seats here, both of which turn around still. So we've got weapon safety, missile safety, the landing gear, docking cam, galaxy map here for hyperdrive course plotting, which you can see we've got everything crucial in the ship. The logic under here for the weapon, the guns at least, then the missile weapons. Then you've got the ship core, identity block, hyperdrive, power generators. Don't really need 4, you can get away with 1, but I've got 4 because I wanted it to look symmetrical and just nice. So it's pretty cozy back here in terms of this. But if we, I'll just do it from here, opening the flight pods, extends the room here, so you got room for a bit of cargo here. You got room for people sleeping in case they need to, so you got captain and co-pilot there. And then if you need to get into the actual sort of side room of the flight pod, so you got your engines here, you got some logic maintenance there, and you can see the whole thing just sort of slides out. So I'll just sort of show from the outside now. It was a lot more compact, now it's just sort of extended outwards. You've got access to the 4 missile launchers per side and the 4 guns per side. I think that block's painted the wrong colour, but oh well. We'll actually just come around to the back here. So there's 2 different opening systems for the back door. One is if you are docking it with something at the same level, like that, so you've got doors and you've got the ramp there. Otherwise, if you're landing on a planet, say, you can press this blue button and then the entire ramp folds out, and presuming you're not using landing gear, you'd actually be in line with the actual floor. So then you can just close the ramp there. You got the doors, you got the walkway just by itself, you got the maintenance switches here, and then you got the entire flight pod if you need to move the entire flight pod in or out, like so. So it's a bit of a finicky system, but it works. I've got it set so that way you press this button, the entire flight pod moves and the door changes its state from open to closed, or closed to open. So we'll actually just fly the ship out of here. So oops. So we're in third person now, but oops. Actually, I don't know that I've got docking. Yeah, okay, I forgot about that. Usually when you're docking, you control the docking from back here. So you've got the right hand side, the left hand side for the back sort of docking here. Or you've got the lower docking, which is the one we're connected to, which is why this one's on. So if we just sort of separate that, we should be off the ground now. We'll just try, oops, controlling the ship first. F4, we'll go into maneuvering mode. Oops, bit of a jolt there. Just do the landing gear. And we'll just slowly move forward to the right and then forward again. So it's a bit of a cozy fit for this hangar bay, but the important thing is you can fit 2 of these per side, so you can fit 4 of these sort of cargo ships. I plan on having 2 of these in the ship at one time, 1 per hangar bay, and then you can have approximately 4 fighter ships, depending on how big I make those, in the actual ship later on. So we'll just sort of oops, bit of clipping happening there, but we'll just sort of up our speed there. As you can see here, we can just sort of fly around. I'm pretty happy with how everything's been turning out. The ship's coming together nicely. We'll just lower our speed down. And I'll just show you the weapon firing on this ship. So, some Stargate fans might recognise this looks a little bit like a puddle jumper. That was sort of inspiration, but I sort of just went with making the ship functional first. I didn't really think too much about anything else really. So you can sort of control it from first person here. So let's just say, important thing to note with this ship, you need to have the flight pods out when you want to fire the weapons. And also, for some logic reason which I haven't figured out yet, whenever I turn the safety switches off, it will fire the weapons just once. And now I can fire them whenever I want with the left click for guns. Sort of fires it in a burst of 4 shots. And then it does 2 and then 2 for the missiles with right click. So yeah, I can turn the safety on, no problem. Then I can't fire the missiles, I can still fire the guns. But when I turn the safety off, it fires them. Not really sure why this is happening. I'll show you my system in a moment in case anyone's got some suggestions, but basically you better be sure you want to fire, otherwise when you turn your safety off and on, yeah, you're probably going to kill someone. So we'll just come back here, get rid of some of the flooring here. So just same system works with the missiles over here. So you got missiles with right click, and then you got the primary weapon firing with left click. So I'll just sort of try and show what's happening here. So we've got a infinite sort of loop system here using the safety switch. This is the safety switch up here. So as you can see, fires whenever I toggle between safety on and off, which goes into the AND gate here. So I'll just hold a piece of logic. This goes into here, which is the AND gate, and then the other activation signal comes from back here. So if I make a left click, it sends a pulse to a button, and the button goes to the other AND gate area. So whenever I take a left click, it activates the button, which goes to here, which combined with the safety switch of the AND gate here will then put an output of this into this here, which for one will output into the firing of the 4 burst shot. So you got 4 here, which is for one side, and then 4 here, which is for the other side. So one side and then the other side. And you got 4 delay gates here because there's a slight delay between each shot, as you saw, just as you might see. So going back here, it goes into this here. One of these outputs here of actually activating a shot comes back around here into a delay gate, which goes into a constant gate, which then goes somewhere. Oops, lost that. Either way, basically it's just an infinite loop system similar to what I showed in that tutorial video. For some reason, it just wants to keep on firing. So, activate safety, and it fires. For some reason it's not quite firing correctly. It's supposed to do 2 and then another 2, but not to worry, there are some issues with the game, but it's also probably a mix of my logic system too. So just coming back out here, and you can see the Sullosian shuttle Mark 1. So I'm pretty happy with this too. So it's just a bit of a showcase of what I've been up to for the moment. I don't think I've missed anything inside the actual ship. As you can see, the ship is coming together really well. So everything's sort of coming together. It's just a matter of outside detail, and just covering on why I can't make a hyperspace jump. At the moment, the way the docking system is working, it's just a bit of a placeholder system. So if I've got something docked here, it's not going to stay docked if I restart the game, or if I make a hyperspace jump. It's going to get rid of the entity. The only way around this is to make a child entity, similar to what these doors are. So this is a child entity because it's on a slider just here, and then it slides together. So child entities stay with the ship, however docked entities do not. So that's just a bit of a problem with the docking system at the moment, but it will get reworked and it will get fixed eventually. But for the moment, I sort of have to dock each of these escape pods, or this shuttle here, each time I restart the game. Not so much of a problem, but it's just the way it is. So I will also do a video shortly answering a lot of questions I've been getting about the game. Some people have been having some logic scenarios they want me to run through, like getting vents to randomly fire when you're flying the ship. And there are a few other ones out there, but I'll just sort of try and cover those in a video shortly. But if you enjoyed watching this video, please let me know. If you've got any questions about logic, how anything works, how if you want me to make a ship of any kind, if you want me to do something, let me know. I will do my best to get onto that as soon as I can. I have been pretty busy recently, but I'm not as busy at the moment. So if you've got any suggestions, just let me know and I'll give it a go. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.